billing and collection services items. I wanted to reiterate the words of DRA. We're doing our ambulance service stuff. Do we need a review of how our ambulance workers are taking care of our people? I think it should be like front and center of how we address ourselves at this time, and with the police issues as well. I've been mentioning it. I'm really surprised in what's happening to Andrea Evans' case. She's a pretty innocent person, and she's getting a real railroad treatment right now. Her rights are being taken away, and I think we have to really work something right now, and it's a better principle. Good luck how we can do that. And addressing exactly what DRA was talking about. What's going on with how ambulance workers take people to the hospital? What's going on in that time period? Those things have to be addressed. Is it larger than just Andrea's issue here in San Diego? We have to consider all these things. And also for item 51, improvements and modernization project for PS2 improvements. I'm learning important lessons in the difference between stormwater, storm drain issues, and these are sewer issues. These are all different classifications. I spoke much a week or so ago on my feelings of storm water issues when you were working on storm drain issues. They're related, but there can be a bit of differences, and I didn't mark those differences. I wish I did. I really tried to be heartfelt in my words last week, and I was spoken to of what is the more proper order of how to talk about the things. But nonetheless, my words have real good intentions for everyone, and I hope we continue to work on our stuff and work on clarifying language when we clarify each other, that it can be done softly. I have to learn that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Natalie Rashke, please state which item or items you wish to speak to.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Which item would you like to speak to?
I'd like to speak on consent item 100.
100. Okay.
It's Natalie Rashke. The title is kind of concerning to me. It does sound a bit oxymoronish. It's concerning to me also that there's appointed 4 people to this board, and yet I went to go fill out an application and it's saying it's not taking any applications, and that there are 7 seats available. I think with the transparency that is happening through the city and with its constituents, I'm supposed to be a stakeholder, but it doesn't seem that my stakeholding seems to be noticed too much. With this, I got a letter from the Housing Commission that my EHV will end November 30th, and then I will no longer be a part of any Housing Commission available.
Thank you. That does conclude your time. The next speaker is the caller with the last 4 digits, 8700. Please state the item or items you wish to speak to.
Am I on?
You are on. Which item would you like to speak to?
Sorry, Deputy City Clerk. You're doing such a good job. 50, 51, excuse me, 100, 501, 501, and 4 and 2. I'm sorry. Did you get that, or you want me to redo it?
I got that. You'll have a total of 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so 50. Yes, this is a very important item. Yes to B2G now for comprehensive contract and labor compliance software solution support. This is the administration and enforcement functions of the OLSE, the PLA, and the EOC programs. Wonderful, wonderful, important item. A question in today's IT world is 10 years too long. 51, yes to Brown and Caldwell. The EOC report, 59 employees, 11 subcontractors. A question, what about underrepresentation in the subcontractors? Do we follow that workforce? No copy of the workforce report from Brown and Caldwell. It's with the county. This is one reason why item 50 is so crucial. 100, yes to the appointments to the Homeless Revenue Account Citizens Oversight Committee. Thank you, volunteers. 4 years seems appropriate. Length of service, revenue from the Measure C TOT. Please consider what John Brady said this morning. I think that's a good thing to look at. S501, yes, and thank you to Council Member Campillo and all others involved on the e-bike prohibition for under 12 young people. This makes sense. We need to guide our young people, and this is very important for their safety. So, aspect enforcement of it. 503, yes, 503 on the fence with Whitman contract for ambulance building and collection services. Is there a program to help low-income people with the payments? I'm sorry, back to 502. Yes to the First Amendment to REI, involves CDGB grant funds and HUD HUD system. Timeline has been bumpy for meeting deadlines. Please be careful on that. Involves equity in underserved communities. It's a good thing. So thank you, the Economic Development Department. So this is chock full of good stuff, and appreciate your work on this. Love to all.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Catherine Douglas. Please state which item or items you would like to speak to.
E-bike safety.
Okay, you'll have 1 minute. Please proceed.
I strongly support this common sense e-bike safety proposal unanimously approved by the Public Safety Committee. There's an urgent need for practical measures that will enhance public safety and help prevent avoidable injuries. Setting a minimum age of 12 for Class 1 and Class 2 e-bike riders. Prohibiting passengers unless a bike is specifically designed with a permanent second seat. These are simple, common sense safety measures. These safeguards will protect young riders, reduce dangerous riding behaviors, make our streets safer for everyone. As e-bike usage continues to grow, kids need these protections now more than ever to ensure they can ride Member Campillo's proposal and swiftly implement these much-needed safety improvements. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That does conclude public comment on the consent agenda.
All right, thank you, Deputy Clerk. We'll turn it over to council members. Questions, comments, entertain a motion, and we will start with Council Member Campillo.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you to members of the public for their participation today. I will move approval of the consent agenda and speak briefly to item S501, the regulations on e-bikes. This ordinance comes down to one simple question for me and my constituents. If we know children are being seriously injured on e-bikes and we have the legal authority to act, why wouldn't we? As a parent of 2 young children, a former 5th grade teacher as well, child safety is always at the top of my mind, and I've seen the data. I've spoken with the families, I've spoken to the doctors, I've heard from healthcare professionals and educators, and the message is clear. They want to see us do more to protect our children. Today's e-bikes are not the bicycles many of us grew up riding. They travel farther and faster, often in traffic alongside cars, and yet many young riders haven't received the training on the rules of the road or safe riding practices. So this ordinance uses the authority provided by AB 2234 to establish common sense guardrails focused on education and accountability and safety. The goal is not to punish anyone, particularly children. The goal is to prevent injuries before they happen. I want to particularly thank Assemblymember Tasha Berner for authoring AB 2234 and Senator Catherine Blakespear, whose upcoming legislation will put more responsibility on manufacturers, and that has my full support as well. E-bikes are and can be a great transportation option, but safety cannot be optional. So when children are being seriously injured and other pedestrians walking around are being injured, doing nothing can't be an option. Our state legislature allows for this ordinance to be a tool to protect children and protect everyone, really. and collect evidence for several years to help shape policy into the future. This ordinance is reasonable, it's balanced, and a necessary step to protect young riders, their families, and everyone who shares our roads and sidewalks. So with that, I respectfully ask support of the council, and that concludes my motion, Council President.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Campea. So we have a motion to move the consent items not seen in the lights. I'll second it, and I will thank you, council member, for bringing the item forward. And I will join you in expressing the frustration for the good work that Senator Blake's been to have common sense legislation and having a tough time up in Sacramento, but at least we have this. Thank you for taking an opportunity for the pilot program. And thank you to the city attorney for clarifying that this will have the same term of whatever the state legislation is going forward. Campea and a second by myself to move the consent items. We'll go next to Council Member Elo Rivera.
Thank you, Council President. I will first be asking some questions about item 100, the appointments to the Homeless Revenue Account Citizens Oversight Committee. This has nothing to do with the specific resumes or qualifications of the folks who are being nominated today. But I do think that it's incredibly important that there eventually be folks with lived experience on that committee. That's especially important since, as was mentioned in public comment, the service providers will almost certainly be excluded from participating. That experience of having been homeless, tried to navigate the system, seeing what works and what doesn't work from various perspectives is incredibly important. We know that when the city has done our best work on homelessness, it has been very much guided by people with lived experience that actually helps inform the direction that is being headed. So I am happy to support the appointments of the folks who are nominated today. I will not be supporting any additional appointments to this committee until there are until at least someone with lived experience is appointed after this. Just want to be transparent about that because I do think it's critical to ensure that the intended effect of this committee lands in the way that it's supposed to land in terms of impact. Item S501, appreciate the work that's been done here. The one thing that I will flag is wanting to be sure that we are tracking what the enforcement of this ordinance looks like once that does go into effect. There are already gross disproportionalities in terms of enforcement of a variety of laws in this city. Young people experience those disproportionate enforcements in a significant way. The school to prison pipeline is real. The youth to prison pipeline is real. And I want to be sure that this ordinance is being enforced with the intended effect of protecting young people from harm, not as a pretext to additional contacts with from law enforcement to young people, especially young people of color. I will be very closely looking to see that Black and brown youth are not being disproportionately targeted for enforcement of this law. So understand the desired effect. I too have been very concerned at times when I've seen young folks bombing down hills on e-bikes and all that can go wrong there. And again, just want to be sure that we're not opening the door to disproportionate and unnecessary interactions between young folks and law enforcement or the justice system. And I'll just play out one example where we could see this happening, where a young person, 13 or 14 years old, maybe 15, 16, or 17, depending on how creative folks want to be in terms of enforcing this or attempting to enforce this law, gets stopped with the pretext of checking to make sure that the person is of the appropriate age to be riding a Class 1 or Class 2 e-bike. And that initiates an unnecessary contact between that young person and the system. If that person's not carrying ID, you can kind of see it going from there in terms of what that contact can look like. And again, thinking about my constituents, the young folks that I've worked with over the years who have had negative experiences that very rarely involve them actually causing harm, but has permanently clouded their perception of the city, their perception of public safety. I want to make sure that this doesn't open the door for that. And then lastly, just wanted to make sure that we continue to encourage folks to ride when possible, that we encourage folks to develop those habits rather than discourage that. That's important to me as well. So I appreciate the intended effect. I will support the motion in front of us, but we'll be looking closely to make sure that it's not being enforced in a disproportionate way. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Elo Rivera. We'll go next to Councilmember Foster.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just would like to register, I will be supporting the consent agenda, but I would like to register a no vote for item number 50, the new contract with B2G Now. Again, we are ending a contract with a certified Black woman-owned business, and we are entering into a new agreement with a non-certified firm at double the cost, and that is very problematic for me. So I will be registering a no vote.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Foster. We'll go back to Councilmember Campillo.
Thank you, Council President. I appreciate Councilmember Elo Rivera's points. Completely spot on the historical and the societal effects that he's talking about. Just want to point out, AB 2234 does account for collection of the data that he's pointing out that are important. Subsection D of that state law says that when we submit the data to the state legislature as a result of this pilot program, it does include how many times a person is stopped. 12, but then an officer thought they were under the age of 12, but was in fact over the age limit. The officer does have to take down information about perceived race, ethnicity, gender, and approximate age of the person stopped, and provided that the identification of these characteristics is solely based on the observation or perception of the police officer who initiated the traffic stop. So I appreciate his points on that, and note that the state legislature does require us to collect and submit that information to protect against the issues he brought up. So thank you for those points.
All right, thank you, sir. Not seeing anyone else in the lights. We have a motion by Councilmember Campillo, a second by myself. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
I have set up the voting system. Please cast your vote. Councilmember Whitburn, could we get a voice vote from you as well?
Yes.
Thank you. The item passes unanimously with District 4 casting a no vote on item number 50.
And Districts 1 and Districts 5 absent.
And District 2 and District 5 absent. Thank you, Council President.
Stephanie's messed up my head. With that, do we have any comments by Mayor's Office, Council members, City Attorney, Independent Budget Analyst, City Clerk?
Only comment I have to follow up on Councilmember Elo Rivera's comments regarding item 100. One of the appointees does have lived experience, but I completely understand your concern and your request that for the remaining 3 appointments to keep that top of mind. So completely heard.
All right, thank you for that input, Coda. Not seeing anybody else. We will now take up non-agenda public comment. Council members respect and appreciate the public's input and are fully committed to protecting every participant's free speech rights at council and committee meetings. Deputy Clerk, please proceed with public comment.
Thank you, Council President. Per Rule 2.7, non-agenda public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Please note, if there are 8 or more speakers on a single topic, the maximum time for the topic will be 16 minutes. If you are in the committee room, please submit your speaker slip. If you are joining us virtually, please raise your hand to speak by tapping the raise your hand icon, or if you are a call-in participant, *9. We will begin with in-person comment. Maximilian Schmidt, please come forward. You'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Communist countries across the world are eliminating dissidents and killing off anyone who opposes them. And how they do this is they're actually people. What if I told you that if someone does a Hermetic chant in a Masonic lodge, they have the ability to look through your eyes and read your mind and access your consciousness completely? And what's going on is communist countries, if someone's a dissident, they will actually surround the dissident and they will speak gibberish, half like patronizing their private thoughts to drive them mentally ill to suicide or mental illness or drug addiction. And it's extremely cruel and unusual. It's the equivalent of wearing headphones, speaking gibberish, patronizing your private thoughts nonstop. And those communist tactics to remove dissidents has sadly spilled over into San Diego, where I'm someone who's done a lot of grassroots on my own. On my own free time, I took it upon myself to go to the store, get a Trump flag, and wave a Trump flag on the corner. That's what I like to do for fun. And after that happened, I started to get surrounded by people, telepathic Freemasons, speaking gibberish nonstop, driving me insane, driving me crazy. And I wanted to say, the GOP doesn't do that. We don't target people who don't like the GOP and try to drive them crazy and kill them with driving them crazy with gibberish. That's what communists do, and that's what liberals do. And I want to make it clear that liberals do not care about human rights. They're supposed to be like the party that cares about human rights, cares about any hate against homosexuals, cares about illegal immigrants. However, they're using communist tactics to kill people who don't like them. So liberals aren't the party of human rights. They're phonies.
Thank you. That does conclude your time. Next up is allegedly Audra.
Lived experience should be a requirement for that, but whatever. I mean, because I feel like you're just saying that you're going to do that. And Raul, I would actually say that collecting that data on children under 12 could be very concerning with the things that happen with children and data collection. With your guys' cannabis item yesterday, I'm wondering if you know that in December that it got reclassified as a Schedule 3, like ketamine. And so it's going to have to be pharmaceutical grade and have like FDA approved manufacturing and all of these things. So as you're bringing in these requirements, I mean, the goal is to like get the cannabis industry out of here. I mean, it's just going to go back to the black market. But it's going to put dispensaries out of business. So as you're talking about deliveries here and there, you know, reclassifying this again, that's why it's like back and forth. I mean, it's like a roller coaster ride. How do you keep up with it? But you should think about that as you're bringing in enforcement. And going back to Andrea Ebbing, it's very concerning to know that they have deemed her incompetent because she's not incompetent. And a psychological evaluation, the evaluator said she was competent, and then somebody from the county, like a social worker, came in and started asking her political questions. And so, irregardless of that, the judge has the deciding factor in a PC 1368. So the problem is that this is going to stall the proceedings, and she could potentially go into a mental facility and be drugged up. And this is a way to silence people. And it's just really sad to know that she has been fighting for her children, fighting to report crimes that have happened against her, and this is what takes place. And her attorney, prior to saying that she was incompetent, like a few weeks prior, had filed a dismissal of charges because the arrest was unlawful. So there is a huge problem here that they have now deemed her incompetent when all the charges should be dismissed.
That does conclude your time. Next up is lay brother Stephen G. Sidlovsky. Please come forward to the microphone. You'll have 2 minutes. I understand you have some media you'd like to project?
If possible. Good afternoon, San Diego City Council and citizens. I am lay brother Stephen Gerard Sidlowski. I'd like to open up with Holy Scripture because that's a good thing to do, I think. And I'm going to open up to Proverbs 10 in honor of, we've just celebrated Father's Day, Mother's Day to Father's Day time frame. The Proverbs of Solomon, a wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivers from death. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. And finally, blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. I delivered all of you a wonderful Bible bookmark. I travel the country, and I have spoken at San Diego in the past, amplifying new USA preborn personhood cities, since I am a pro-life speaker. What I wanted to display before you is that I attended the California March for Life on March 16th of this year in Sacramento. And the document up there shows that about 4,000 citizens attended the wonderful March for Life because we are marching for the sanctity of life. We all here in council chambers started off our journey of life in our mother's womb. Fatherhood starts in the mother's womb. Motherhood starts in the mother's womb. Childhood starts in the mother's womb.
That does conclude your time.
Thank you, and I'll continue to update you on the new possibilities of personhood cities.
Thank you. Next speaker is Bob Kazuski.
Please play my video.
Okay, we'll bring the video up.
Bob Kazuski here. A week ago today, I was hang gliding at Dockweiler State Beach in Los Angeles under the Dockweiler waiver that has been in place since 2017. The public has been able to hang glide at Dockweiler Beach for nearly 10 years under that waiver. A decade ago, however, hang gliding at Dockweiler was not allowed by the County of Los Angeles without USHPA membership. Fortunately, that all changed due to a sequence of events that started right here in San Diego. On July 24th, 2011, a female student named Shannon Hamby was taking lessons at Torrey through the city's concessionaire. She was under radio supervision when she was flown directly into the path of another student. She crashed and was badly injured. I was contacted by Shannon's lawyer and asked to testify as an expert witness, and I did. My testimony in September of 2014 was solid, and the case was quickly settled in Shannon's favor for an undisclosed amount. USHPA ended up losing their insurance coverage. By November of 2014, I was retaliated against by your concessionaire, who conspired with USHPA in the spring of 2015 to have me expelled for my testimony, which ended my ability to fly at all USHPA sites, including Torrey Pines and Dockweiler. In early 2017, we met with newly elected Barbara Bree for help. Barbara Bree suggested a flight waiver to solve the problem, but she never followed through. Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. While Barbara Bree did nothing here in San Diego, Los Angeles Supervisor Janice Hahn stepped up and actually instituted a waiver. The first Dockweiler waivers were issued to Joe Faust, Frank Culver, and myself on July 26, 2017, and we have flown under those waivers without incident ever since. Barbara Bree dodged the issue for the rest of her term until her failed mayoral bid in 2020. Joe LaCava has followed her lead throughout his entire term. Reactivate the Torrey Pines City Park Advisory Board and institute a Torrey Pines flight waiver now.
That does conclude your time. Thank you. Next speaker is Anthony Rouse.
Good afternoon, City Council. Good afternoon, City Council. I'm sure you're probably wondering what the flowers are for. The flowers are from Deep Flock San Diego, and they are to all of our City Council members who voted against Flock and who respect their constituents' privacy rights. And I actually got I tried to find some blue irises since they're the official flower of the city. I wasn't able to find any, but I did get these irises that really resemble the blue irises, and I think that they're really pretty. I wanted to give these to our independent budget analyst, Charles Modica, because he advised the City Council to cut Flock from the mayor's budget. And because he's the independent budget analyst, we should be listening to him. We should be respecting the we are disrespecting our constituents' privacy, and that we are giving an already overbloated police budget even more money and even more surveillance technology to use against us is extremely concerning. In this last week, I saw a report that was detailing 17 cases of police stalking their former. There was a shooting and it was not stopped due to Flock ALPR technology. That's the second time that Flock has failed in the last month. If I were in significant instances where I was expected to give a performance and I didn't deliver, I would be immediately fired. I don't understand why SDPD can been shown, and I'm not sure how we're going to hold them accountable when we have $42 million in the public liability fund that they've blown through, and all of the lawsuits that they've cost the city, and we're not done paying those. I would like to see this council focus on police accountability. Thank you.
That does conclude your time, and our city clerk staff can help distribute the flowers.
Thank you.
That does conclude in-person public comment. I've started the 5-minute timer. In the committee room, we will now turn to the virtual queue, in which there are currently 10 participants requesting to speak. We'll go first to Blair Beekman. Please begin your comments.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for asking me to go first, asking myself to go first. Yes, I'm also really trying, I think we can address Flock issues in new ways. I'm hoping that there is simply I feel there's a continuing growing will in the past year in San Diego and across the country to no longer do business with Flock. As Flock may be developing its ideas and data within the context of supporting the international policies of war. I have been describing for months now how both the City of Oakland and the County of Alameda are creating an 18-month process of full community input, best practices to leave Flock for a new, better principled ALPR vendor. This is simply a good model San Diego could refer to at this time. A good beginning model. We simply should be continuing community dialogue and conversations how to formally leave the ALPR vendor Flock and to look for a better principled ALPR vendor. Or do we and work out new data collection arrangements ubiquitous still owners of new San Diego ALPRs. At the same time, San Diego, we could be working towards something of a yearly review process, I feel, that can be important also at this time, in how to create a small reduction of unnecessary or redundant surveillance technology and ALPR use from local San Diego neighborhoods. And at the same time, this will not overly limit or take much away from the current use of surveillance technology within San Diego neighborhood public safety concerns. I'm also hoping this can develop a consistent, responsible yearly reduction of unnecessary surveillance tech, while at the same time developing better principled, more responsible community tech use with clear oversight. I think it can work. Monica Montgomery Stepp a few years ago believed the ALPRs could be reduced. That was on her mind with new ALPRs. And good luck, we can talk more about ALPR use in real time.
That does conclude your time.
Good afternoon, San Diego City Council, Chair LaCava. My name is Terry Ann Skelly, and I work with my planning group on good public health and safety policies and land use regarding creating more I truly appreciate the city's efforts to know in our cities and where the pot is coming from within the city. I was concerned that there were those yesterday who wanted to have a permit from another jurisdiction and then wanted to deliver in San Diego, but did not want to register for a permit to deliver in San Diego. That was a scary declaration and made me wonder about all those pot entrepreneurs who continuously tell us that they are providing a necessary service. However, they don't want to abide by the rules and register in the city of San Diego to deliver pot. That makes the public wonder if the real motive behind selling pot is just money, which has always been the motive behind selling drugs. So I especially appreciate the work of City Councilperson Cambillo and staff for creating a system of fines associated with enforcement against pot deliveries, doing so illegally. I also appreciate the larger dialogue regarding enforcement commitments for the police department and code enforcement. Thank you for hearing my issues this morning or afternoon.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Barbara Gordon. Please begin.
Thank you. As a public health educator, I wanted to share with you the American Medical Association's recently adopted new policy calling for the prohibition of flavored cannabis vaping products in cannabis dispensaries, hemp product retailers, and other retail outlets, while also advocating for legislative changes. Their position reflects the organization's growing concern about public health risks associated with flavored vaping products and their appeal to adolescents and young adults. According to the AMA, flavors such as fruit, candy, menthol can make vaping products more attractive to youth, increasing the likelihood of initiation and long-term substance use. The new policy extends to the AMA's long-standing position, reflecting a broader efforts to reduce youth exposure to inhaled psychoactive substances. The report says there is no public health justification for flavors that enhance the appeal of cannabis vape products, particularly when youth vaping remains a significant concern. AMA later says that protecting young people from addiction and potential health harms should take precedence over the commercialization and availability.
Thank you. That does conclude your time. Our next speaker is caller with last four digits 8700. Please begin.
Thank you, Joy Sunyata. The beautiful tapestry, the lens through which we look at and see life. Here's my lens. What if we are all pollinators in city government? After 20 years in my work as an activist, I see a common thread to it all. We are all working to see what works best. We now know that bees are connected to a bigger picture that includes a mysterious miracle. Yes, the miracle is bumpy. Yet, something is working. We're still here. Life is still here. I woke up feeling different this morning about SDG&E, about public power, about trash fees, parking fees, budgets, ADUs, parks, libraries, even flock, and so forth. We are doing something that the whole world is doing. We are doing what we are meant to do. We are fulfilling our role as pollinators of the great circle of life. In my opinion, we are so lucky. We just happen to be here in San Diego. We are just so lucky. And we are connected. I believe in that. I really do. And I'm getting stronger and stronger about it through all these difficult days. It's all connected. I believe in that. So I hope you'll consider that too. And I'm sure you're there already on many levels. maybe you're even the best of the best. Help us with our new vision if you are. So I believe in all of that, and I believe in the beautiful tapestry. Love to all.
Thank you.
A
That does
really
conclude
great,
your time.
great day.
Thank you. Please note that the 5-minute timer has concluded with 5 speakers left in the queue. No other speakers will be taken at this time. Next up is John Ellier. Please begin.
Good afternoon. Thank you, council members. Thank you, Sean Elo, for discussing lived experience. The lived experience that was mentioned is not what we would define as lived experience, which is somebody who has experienced homelessness within the last 5 to 10 years and is intimately involved in the homeless space as an advocate. I don't think that anybody here would consider lived experience being somebody who may have experienced homelessness 10, 15, 20 years ago, not even in the region if that, or here, because things are different now. I also want to talk about Neil Good. So it was not clear to any of us that when you voted to cut the funding for Neil Good, that there would not be an option to do fundraising and maintain the operations, and that the permit was being pulled at the end of the year. If that is the case, that is outrageous. That means we traded a critically needed resources for our most suffering people to fund Flock, and that is completely unacceptable. It was never made clear in any of your deliberations that the funding you were committing or decommitting was tied to a permanent closure by revocation of permit. And no one, including everybody at the Community Budget Alliance, was aware about either. We would have addressed it differently. When it comes to that issue, we need to be revisiting why exactly we are terminating the permit when there is an option and people are interested to fundraise the necessary funds to keep the facility open as is. And then finally, it has come to our attention that if you do not have a solution for your EHV voucher by the end of the year, that you are going to be dropped, have no priority, and be on your own finding housing. And that too is not acceptable, especially when the county filled all theirs.
Thank you. That does conclude your time. Our next speaker is Natalie Rashke. Please begin.
Hi, I just want to give you an update on the letter that I received. I was on a phone call and I got interrupted. It basically states for word that when the San Diego Housing Commission stops paying the EHV rent subsidy, you will no longer be an SDHC participant, you will not need to do anything, and you will no longer be a part of this program. I was informed that I would be on a waiting list for a project-based voucher, so it's unclear to me if that would still be the case. I have tried contacting, I'm in contact with legal aid, which it tells me to do. There's no urgency, it seems, with any of these entities. Sarah Jacobs' office still has not seemed to get back to me. I have contacted every single entity that I can to put me in front of somebody that I can relate to how wrong this is. It's extremely overwhelming going to these websites, and I spoke last week or the week before, a willing and able-bodied person that has the ability to do certain tasks that is having a really hard time completing tasks when the other parties aren't participating back, or there doesn't seem to be an urgency in what's happening. I'll give you a rough estimation on what November 30th will look like if nobody else gets housing. There will be over 1,600 will be unhoused on that day. That is overwhelming to me just to even think about. And with the cuts, where are these people going to go? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Judy Strang. Please begin.
Good afternoon, San Diego City Council. Thank you for the many comments we've heard so far. I wanted to share with you an article that came out from the Washington Post in association with the University of Colorado study regarding cannabis and brain. It so happens that June is Brain Awareness Month. I thought about that when we were talking about e-bikes, because that's the injury you so often hear about. And traumatic brain injuries are horrific. Those of you who've had exposure to that with people can appreciate it. Anyway, the article from Washington Post is entitled 7 Unexpected Findings that Highlight Significant Vulnerabilities in Younger Individuals Related to Marijuana Use. I'm only going to share a couple that really struck me. First, I would like to share that it continues to surprise me that people don't realize that the cannabis people are using these days are not the plant with low concentrations. They are highly engineered, and they're engineered to increase their potency. And this, of course, is what leads to addiction and dependence and adverse mental health episodes. Number 2, this structural change to the adolescent brain due to their exposure to marijuana through use is significant. They call it in this article brain inflammation, and it changes the structural wiring of the white matter in the brain. One can only think for about 10 seconds and you know what that means for a population of children, a whole demographic. And 3, the concern they have regarding working memory impairment. And I've spoken to that concern as it applies to impaired driving. But 4th, and the one that brings me here, is the role of marijuana use in triggering the mental health problems of paranoia and panic. If you've ever dealt with someone having that experience with paranoia, you know how painful it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Becky Rapp, please begin.
Good afternoon. My name is Becky Rapp, and I'd like to thank the Public Safety Committee for bringing forward the Transition Support Team pilot program, helping to connect vulnerable individuals with behavioral health services, housing resources, and other supportive programs, as it is crucial. However, I'm concerned that in the report, marijuana and its potential behavioral health impacts were not included. If the goal of the Transition Support Team is to improve behavioral health outcomes and prevent people from falling deeper into crisis, then we must recognize the connection between high-potency marijuana products and mental health consequences. The most recent publicly reported San Diego County toxicology report found that THC was present in 43% of completed suicides involving individuals aged 25 and younger. Let that sit in for a minute. 43%. We have to start recognizing the role marijuana plays in mental health outcomes. I'm also encouraging the council to request updated information from the medical examiner, behavioral health services, and other agencies regarding THC-positive suicides, marijuana-related psychiatric admissions, emergency department visits, and impaired driving incidents. As this pilot program progresses, council must ensure that marijuana prevention, education, and behavioral health reporting are integrated into this program. If the mission of the Transition Support Team is to help people avoid crisis and achieve stability, then we should be willing to address all substances that may be contributing to those challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Madison. Please begin.
Hi, thank you, and good afternoon. My concern is about the growing normalization of marijuana use and what science tells us about its impact on young people. Lynn Silver is a San Diego-based public health physician and advocate focused on protecting youth health through evidence-based policy, prevention, and education. Her work centers on reducing the harms of substance use and supporting healthier communities. And she shared recent research that shows that when it comes to cannabis, 3 factors matter most: how often it is used, how young someone is when they start, and the potency of the THC. Unfortunately, today's marijuana products are far more potent than those used in previous generations, and young people are particularly vulnerable to the effects. Studies have found that heavy cannabis use is associated with changes in brain connectivity, reduced working memory, and an increased risk of psychosis-like symptoms. Perhaps most concerning, adolescents who used cannabis within the previous year were found to have double the risk of developing a psychotic or bipolar disorder by age 26. We're also seeing other serious consequences, like cases of cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, a condition that causes severe and repeated vomiting, have quadrupled among young people in recent years. Researchers have concluded that cannabis is not supported as a treatment for many mental health conditions, despite claims often made by the industry. The takeaway from all this research is clear. There is no safe limit for youth cannabis use. The developing brain is uniquely susceptible to harm, and early exposure carries measurable risks that can last well into adulthood. As policymakers, you have the responsibility to put the health and well-being of young people first. I urge you to continue supporting policies that reduce youth exposure, limit normalization, and prioritize prevention and education. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes non-agenda public comment.
All right, thank you, Deputy Clerk, for that. I haven't gotten confirmation that the chambers will be suitable. I'm getting a head nod that it probably won't be. So when you come back to the 12th floor, check. If chamber's ready, we'll go in there. If not, we will resume the meeting here in the committee room. So we will now adjourn for the noon recess and reconvene open session at 2 p.m. or shortly thereafter. Thank you, everyone, for their flexibility.
All right, stay tuned, stay classy. We'll be back at 2 o'clock, so I'll be back live soon. Adios until then. God bless.
You remember? Of course, you can library that one. I'm sorry, I got to resolve it. Here, let me give you, I'll walk with you.